Appeals to order. Our board is made up of 5 citizens.
This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, jumped the gun on you. I'm sorry.
All right, go right ahead.
We'll go. I'll back up. Call the meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals to order. Williamson County Board of Zoning Appeals. Our board is made up of 5 members of the community. One may be a member of the Planning Commission. One may be a member of the County Commission. 2 different organizations. The rest of us are not otherwise connected with county government. This evening we'll call an item. Have folks come forward and staff will make a presentation. The presenters will be allowed to make any additional comments, and at some point we'll open the meeting for public hearing. Once the public hearing is concluded, the board will have the opportunity to ask questions and discuss the item. And at some point we should have a motion either to accept or deny. And if that passes, there is a right of appeal for anyone who disagrees with what the board decides. The first right of appeal is to wait a year and come back before the board and restate your position. Another way of appeal is to go to the county commission and the county planning commission and ask them to change the ordinance. Our board does not have the authority to do that, but the planning commission and the county commission can. And the third right of appeal is to go to the Chancery Court. And of course, the court's decision would be final. With that, let's do a roll call and establish a quorum. Don Cohen.
Present. Don Crohan.
Karen Emerson. Sue Workman.
Here.
Andrew Ring.
Here.
David Osbrooks here. We have 4 of the 5 members. 7, we have a quorum. Next order of business is to establish how we're going to proceed with this meeting. We need a motion to do a electronic meeting. Call on Don Cohen for a motion.
I'll make the motion, Mr. Chairman, that we will hold this electronically because of the COVID virus at this time.
I second the motion.
Proper motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Seeing none, seeing ready to vote. Those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm sorry. I will have to do a roll call. Here we go again. Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Karen? Sue?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
David? Yes. Okay. Next order of business is the minutes. Has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes? Any changes or any corrections to the minutes?
Mr. Chairman, this is Don Crohan. I say that we accept the minutes as written.
I second.
Proper motion is second. Any discussion on the motion? See none, you're saying ready to vote. Those in favor, signify by. Here we go again. Don, how do you vote?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Karen? David votes yes. 4 yeses, motion carries. Okay, looks like we're ready for first item. First item, is Greg Lewis gonna handle representation?
Who will present it for Mr. Enclosure? Mr. Benson, Mr. Lewis, or Ms. Van Orman? Who are you representing it?
I believe Mrs. Van Orman will.
Okay, property owner, Ms. Van Orman.
Okay, good.
This is Julie Zimmerman. We live at 2000 Cedarmont Drive in Franklin.
Okay, we will hear.
Let's let the staff make their presentation first, and I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Okay, staff, Holly, if you would, go ahead.
Request by Greg Luis on behalf of Brian and Julie Van Orman for a rear setback variance at 2000 Cedarmont Drive. This property is zoned neighborhood conservation and is located in the 12th district. Brian and Julie Van Orman are the owners of 2000 Cedarmont Drive, which was purchased and recorded October 15th, 2018 in deed book 568, page 599. The lot is 1.39 acres in size and is lot 38 of the Cedarmont Farm subdivision Phase 2, which was recorded in Plat Book 9, page 86 on February 22nd, 1985. At that time, the property was zoned agricultural and the setbacks were 75-foot front yard, 20-foot side yard, and 25-foot rear yard. The recorded plat does not show any setbacks for the front, side, or rear yard. Since this property is zoned neighborhood conservation and the plat does not reference the front, side, or rear setback, Article 10, Section 10.02 L2B allows the planning director to establish the minimum front yard, side yard, and rear yard setbacks based on the closest dwelling along the block face within the same platted subdivision. Currently, this dwelling is the closest on the block face and is situated 106.8 feet from the rear property line. Based on the above referenced section of the zoning ordinance, the rear setback has been established at 106.8 feet. Because the existing dwelling is 106.8 feet from the property, no further encroachments can be allowed. And therefore, the building permit for the proposed covered porch was denied. On September 15th, 2020, Daryl Myers, on behalf of Mr. and Miss Van Orman, applied for the building permit for the proposed covered porch, which is to be located 94.8 feet from the rear property line. On September 16th, 2020, the building permit was disapproved by the planning staff due to the proposed covered porch encroaching on the rear setback of 106.8 feet. The applicant, Brian and Julie Van Orman, are requesting a rear setback variance of 12 feet. Requests for variances are subject to the limitations and provisions delineated in section 5.02F.
Okay, thank you. John, you prepared?
Yeah, let me try to confuse you a little bit more than we already are, I guess, on these situations.
I need your,
If you recall, this is the same type of request we had a couple of months for the neighborhood conservation district. The purpose of the neighborhood conservation districts are to preserve the character of the older neighborhoods, the older established neighborhoods, but yet still provide for some limited building and development in those neighborhoods. The way we establish the setbacks is go back to the plats when the subdivision was recorded and get those off the plats. In the instance where the setbacks are not recorded on the plats, then the current zoning ordinances allow the planning director or his designee to establish the setbacks based on the closest structure to the property line in question on the block face. Now, I think this is where we ran into confusion the last time. So I printed out a map. Hope you can see this. Can everyone see the map on the screen? I hope I'm sharing it with you.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah, my little hand is moving around on there. So this is the ones with the blue lines on them. It's hard to read, but I'll tell you what they say. That are the houses that front on Cedarmont Drive. The Van Orman's house is here on the corner, at the top of the map, at the corner of Warren Road and Cedarmont Drive. So if we zoom in on those a little bit, you can see that the Van Ormans, from the rear of their house, the roof of their house, to the rear property line, and this is approximate, this is off the GIS mapping, is 102 feet. That's a rough estimate. Well, we know by survey that now is 106.8 feet, I believe is what it was on the site plan, on that surveyed site plan. If you will follow down through going south on Cedarmont Drive, you notice the second lot is 112 feet, and 138 feet, 168 feet, and then it goes to 237 feet. So it goes progressively farther from the rear line as you go down, but then it gets a little closer as you follow on down and you tie back into Trail Ridge Drive at 110 and 116, I'm sorry, and 110 feet. But none of them are any closer than the Van Orman's at 102 feet. So under the current zoning ordinance, this property that's the closest one to the rear line sets the rear setback for all of these properties on this same block. Now that works good if you're 200 feet from the rear property line. In this case, the Van Ormans can go no closer to the rear property line than they already are because they set the standard. So that's where we ran into last time, how we determined the rear setback. So I hope that helped you understand it a little bit better. And I think the pictures that were in your packet will give you a little bit better idea about where they are in relationship to the roads and the side and rear property lines. That's all I.
In this subdivision, is there any other setbacks besides this one? Any of the other blocks have different setbacks?
As far as I know, the sections that I looked at, they all had the same front setback platted, but the other setbacks were not platted. So then it goes back to, we would have to do the nearest one on each block, individual block face. I will say, there is no other property in Williamson County that has any greater than a 60-foot rear setback. No other zoning requires anything other than greater than a 60-foot rear setback.
Okay. Have you concluded your report?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who's going to, Ms. Van Orn, are you going to speak?
Sure.
Okay, go right ahead. You have the floor.
Okay, Julie Van Orman. I'm looking at that map feeling like, wow, I got the short end of the stick. But, okay, so I'm not sure what I should be saying. We want to build a screened-in porch on the backside of our house. So we're looking at like 6 feet away from, is all that we're asking for a variance. I mean, we bought the property because we had a lot of land. So from where we came from, this was a lot of property to us. And we have trees and we want to be able to sit outside and enjoy the scenery. But there are bugs in Tennessee, so we thought the ideal solution is a screened-in porch. When we walk around the neighborhood, we see that we are one of very few that don't already have a screened-in porch, and we know that they were built after people purchased their property because they've given us their contractors as reference points. So, I mean, I don't feel like we're creating an eyesore, and it is, I mean, it is cutting into that 106 feet, but not by any egregious amount. So just asking for your approval to go ahead and, oh, we did get our neighbors on each side of us to sign a letter saying that they had no problem with our adding on to this, a porch to our property. So I feel like it's a very reasonable request.
Okay, would you present a copy of the letter to the board for the record?
I can provide a copy of that letter.
This is Greg Lewis. I did not have those letters, or I would have uploaded them for you, so they would have been on the Williamson County site. So they're not there.
You could give staff a copy at a future date, be fine.
Okay.
Don't worry about it tonight. But we do want to have a complete record, okay?
Okay.
All right. Have anything else you want to tell the board?
Do you have anything else?
Well, just both sides have porches on the properties that we can see from our yard. Both of them have properties and porches already. So it's kind of like, when we moved in, we didn't think it was going to be a problem. Plus, our deck was a lot larger than the porch that we are proposing.
Okay.
When we moved in.
There was an existing deck there that Mr. Enclosure tore out, and we were approved for a deck, and it is built and on site. And that's what you're seeing on those diagonal lines on the survey. So that the footprint of what the screened-in porch is there, and that deck was approved.
All right. Don, do we have anybody for the public hearing tonight?
No. Did receive a couple of requests to join the meeting. I did not receive any letters for the record. I do have one caller online. Is anyone here for to speak from the public? Now's your chance. Mr. Chairman, I know of no one having spoken up from the public or have not received anything in writing from the public as a matter of record.
Okay. At this point, we'll close the public hearing and go to the board for questions, comments, concerns. And understand this is a request for a variance, not a request to set property setback, but a request to for a variance to the already established setback.
I actually have a question. Is this an appropriate time to ask it?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to reiterate something that you said, John, earlier. Did you say that in Williamson County entirely, there is no other setback larger than 60 feet?
There's no other zone that has a setback larger than 60 feet. That is correct.
In all of Williamson County?
Correct.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay. Board, questions, comments? I'll make this comment based on everything that we've seen and heard tonight. 108-foot setback, I think, is probably not the best situation, not the best use of the land. Looking at the property, it's very nice photographs. There's a lot of land back there that would not be used with the setback being 108 feet. And I think this probably would qualify for a variance. At least that's my personal position at this point. I think a variance of 12 feet is reasonable. And I think not to do that is a hardship on this particular piece of property because no other has a setback greater than 60 feet.
Mr. Chairman, I would say as far as the 60 feet if this were a neighborhood conservation district and there were the closest one to the property line was more than 60 feet, then that would set the setback on those situations. So not the property in Williams County has a setback greater than 60 feet, but the zoning tables have nothing greater than 60 feet.
Okay. Good. Chair will entertain a motion if no one has any other questions.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion. This is Andrew Ring.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we, under section 5.02, we approve a variance of 12 feet on this property to allow this structure to be constructed.
Have a motion. Do we have a second?
This is Don
I
Troy.
second.
I'll second that motion.
We have a proper motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? We'll do a roll call vote. Don, your vote.
Yes.
Sue, your vote.
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
David votes yes. Has Karen joined us yet?
And I don't believe she is on. No.
Motion carries 4-0. The request for a variance is approved. We're ready to go forward with the next item of business. And let's see, I believe we have a meeting scheduled for next year. Everyone had an opportunity to review that.
Yes.
Any comments, corrections, changes?
Mr. Chairman, this is Don Crohan. I move we accept the 2021 schedule for our meetings.
Second.
I second.
And a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Don, how do you vote on the motion?
Yes,
Sue?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
David, yes. Karen? Motion carries. That's our schedule for next year. Next order of business is election of officers. Floor is now open for chairman.
I move that we elect the three by acclamation.
Proper motion. Do you have a second? And a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. Don, how do you vote on the motion?
yes,
Andrew, how do you vote on the motion?
Yes.
Sue, how do you vote?
Yes.
David votes yes. Motion carries. Any other business for the Board of Zoning Appeals tonight, this evening? John?
Yeah, Mr. Osbrooks, I would like to say one other thing. I think congratulations are in order to one of our members. If you haven't seen the paper last week, I believe Chairman Osbrooks was the one of the grand marshals for the parade representing the U.S. Army for the Veterans Day Parade. And I hope I'm sharing with you a photo online right now of a
Yes,
young
you are.
Brooks receiving the Bronze Star for meritorious service for his duty in the Army. And we thank you for not only for your service here on the Board of Zoning Appeals, but in our armed forces in the country and many other like that. But it was, if you haven't read it, great article on Mr. Osbrooks in the Williamson Herald. And just want to congratulate him on that.
I appreciate that, John. It was a pleasure, and we had a great time at the parade. It was one of the best parades I think we've had here in Franklin. Tom Lawrence and Jeff. What's Jeff's last name? Vaughn. That Jeff Vaughn. I hear it coming in the background. Did an excellent job putting that together. That was really great. I think we had over 400 veterans there, and the cars streamed past us literally for hours. And it was first time in a long time I felt like I'd gotten back home. So
Yeah,
appreciate your
that's
comment.
good.
Thank you very much.
Glad they were able to do that.
Thanks for your service, David.
Thank you. Anything else for the board this evening? Then we'll be adjourned. Have a good
Thank you.
holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Everybody have a good Thanksgiving.